Hi, welcome to The Pursuit of Truth. I was just watching Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, the first international guest to see the incumbent president of America, and he's now talking about taking over the Gaza Strip, to redevelop it, put houses, and as if it's some Monopoly board game that he's playing. I think what my appearance of Trump is that he has all this power and he's definitely going to take it. It's like he's playing a game, but he's not realising this is people's lives. And I guess this is why they call him the disruptive or the unpredictable president. But I don't know where this is going to lead, how much disruption he's going to do by these kinds of actions that are not expected from the West. It feels sort of very imperialistic, back to the days of Queen Victoria, or like where you could just, say you're going to take over this bit of land, do whatever you want, and, there was nothing anyone could do about it because you were just the big person. That's what it appears like. I don't know what you think, but I'm seeing the journalist there gasp, asking him what authority, what law do you have that you can take a sovereign piece of land? And Benjamin Netanyahu is standing next to him like, I don't know, he's trying to contain how he's thinking. I don't know, this is truly bizarre. You can hear it now.
This plan would involve the permanent resettlement of nearly 2 million Palestinians to neighbouring countries. The US President was speaking at a joint news conference with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Our US correspondent Mark Stone reports.
In a presidency made up of days full of so many headlines, on this day there was just one. It came after the arrival of Israel's Prime Minister to a White House decked out, and a West Wing greeting between two men whose personal relationship has been on, off, and back on again. They went inside for private talks, and then came the news conference and this.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
The reaction from the gathered audience reflected the enormity of what he'd just said.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too.
He had just announced the takeover of Gaza, owning it, occupying it. It wasn't clear, and it certainly wasn't expected.
You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there? Redevelopment?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent.
It's not clear who he had spoken to, but even Sky sources close to the top of the Israeli government did not know about the idea. And despite trails of other plans for Gaza, this one came from nowhere.
And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be this could be so magnificent.
Perhaps tellingly, Netanyahu did not pass particular judgment on the idea, but it certainly will help him with his own hardliners, who he needs if he's to hold on as Prime Minister. Well, that truly was a remarkable moment. Just the phrase that America will take ownership of the Gaza Strip. Everyone here is trying to absorb quite what he means. And of course, so many questions. Is his occupation of this to involve US troops? How would Hamas respond to that? And how would the Palestinian people feel? The US history of occupation in the Middle East through Afghanistan and Iraq haunts America. Earlier in the day in the Oval Office, another announcement that was also huge.
If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes and where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza.
For so many, this new American president is saying the quiet, controversial stuff out loud. He is framing it as common sense.
Why would they want to return? The place has been hell.
For Palestinians, all this is a dark echo of their history of displacement. Whether Donald Trump is ignoring history, ignorant to it, or indifferent about it, he is the American president. Maybe it's all a negotiating ploy. Whichever it is, he is rewriting the rule book again, and this time with the future of Gaza at stake. Mark Stone, Sky News in Washington.
Standing by for us this morning. Good morning to you, Alistair. How have his words been received where you are?
I mean, people are shocked. People are completely agog. I've been messaging senior ministers across the Middle East and diplomats, and they don't know what to make of it. They are speechless. People have come to expect the unexpected from Donald Trump, but I mean, this goes even further. I mean, don't just listen to what Donald Trump had to say. Look at Benjamin Netanyahu's face when Trump was speaking. I mean, this is a political lifeline for the Israeli Prime Minister, who's facing real pressure here in Israel to resume the war in Gaza. Otherwise, the far-right factions in his coalition were threatening to collapse the government. Well, this is red meat to those factions. They will now be more than just satisfied, and it will distract from any serious discussion about what happens next in Gaza. I think most people think it's entirely unrealistic for so many reasons. Practically, how could it happen? I mean, how do you forcibly displace 2 million Gazans,
which is against international law,
without it becoming a breach of international law, without it being ethnic cleansing? And who's going to take them? Because already Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia have already said that they want nothing to do with this. Are Israel's and America's Western allies, who still mostly believe in the idea of a two-state solution, are they going to be complicit in this? Does Donald Trump want American boots on the ground in Gaza, effectively another Middle East war that he so dislikes, that Congress probably wouldn't approve? I mean, the list of issues with this is long. I wonder whether there's something else at play, though. If there's one thing that Trump and Netanyahu both want almost above anything else, that's a deal with Saudi Arabia, a normalization deal with Saudi Arabia. Is Trump creating artificial problems, creating major negotiating points, something for both sides to climb down from in order to reach that deal? Is there a bigger game at play here? If there's not, and if he really means what he says, and he's prepared to go ahead with it, there's trouble ahead.
Okay, Alistair Finai, thank you. As we said yesterday, the art of the deal. He's a master at it.
Indeed, there will be a lot more.
I mean, there you go. You heard it. I mean, President Bush and Tony Blair must be thinking, oh, how easy it was. We could have just done that rather than have to pretend to go through United Nations regulations that they didn't even properly get to launch their invasion. He just says he wants to take over a bit of land, and that's it. He's signed out of UNRWA. He's signed out of giving international aid. Last time he said he didn't want to interfere with outside. Now he's like he's allowed to do anything just because he's the American president. And I get like his idea of like rebuilding. Yeah, that's great. But what about the people? What about their homes? It doesn't seem like he's thinking too much about that aspect of it and the idea of displacement, like they say about the history. Will they be able to come back to it? Will they be able to afford this place? Or is he just going to make this for who? I don't know. He announces this while he's sitting next to Benjamin Netanyahu. He's not announcing it while he's sitting next to Palestinian leadership. I don't know, it's shocking, isn't it? I mean, it gets, each time you think, well, he's done something that no one else would ever do, no one in the West would do. You know, some of these desperate leaderships, you expect them to say things like this, not Western leaders, but each time he comes out with another thing. Oh, let's see what happens, but I just worry that he's destabilising everything. I mean, I'm all for not following the status quo and, you know, putting humanity first and all this kind of stuff. But I worry that he's setting a fire that maybe he won't be able to put out. I don't know. Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.